Go on that one. Hey, what's going on? Just remember, if you're going to speak and use the microphones, turn the mics on and bring them to your mouth. You're ready to run.
I know, I was still on. Is it green light? Oh, yeah, it's on now.
on.
Oh, now it's on. Okay. Look at time.
Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to December the 8th, 2025 Council on Aging Board meeting at 2 p.m. Before we start, I have a little announcement to make. Any person may make videos or audio recordings of an open session of a meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium, subject to reasonable requirements of the chair as the number, placement, and operation of equipment, such as not to interfere with the conduct of the meeting. Any person intending to make such recordings shall notify the chair forthwith. All documents and references for use during this meeting is to be submitted in duplicate to the chair pursuant to the open meeting and public records law. All documents shall become part of the official record of this meeting.
Is anybody recording other than us? Seeing none, go.
Okay, so we're going to do our minutes from last June 2nd. You have those, Kathy?
The minutes should be in your packet. Everybody should have gotten them ahead of time. We sent those out.
Yeah. Two by some, I guess.
So they were sent out by email, and you should have a hard copy in front of you as well.
Yeah, and then at home. Yeah, so. Okay, and can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, Paul. All right. Treasury report.
Nope.
Okay.
Any discussion? That's why you have me.
Thanks. Okay, any discussion? Okay. Can I have a motion? Oh, we did that. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Okay, thank you. Now we'll do the treasury report.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, buckle in for this. This is going to be, it's really not bad.
Okay, the first thing we will start with is our ending balances as of June 30, 2025. And as we've explained, the fiscal year for the city ends on June 30, 2025. And so it ends for us. And so this is our final report for June 30, 2025. We ended in a good spot. Mike made sure that things were transferred as they should be, and that all accounts balanced out. Did we have to return a little money to the city?
Yeah, kind of. The answer to that is we were actually over budget in our utilities and energy bill. We were just about on budget, a little bit over on repairs and maintenance. So we had to ask for an additional appropriation of $3,500, but we didn't use that entire additional appropriation. So our bottom line budget was increased by $3,500 in June. We spent about $2,000 of that $3,500, so $1,500 is going back to the city from the general operating account.
And as you know, the city auditor audits all our monthly reports, and so he would have audited our final reports. And in addition to our reports being audited, the city has to have a big audit of everybody's books. And that will be coming up. That's something the city takes care of, and through the auditor, our reports go into them. And so that has to be done, and we're not involved with that. As long as we get through our approval here and through approval with the city auditor, we're good. We're good to go. We don't worry about anything else. So that's it. So this is our final report. We came in good. Are there any questions at all on that, on the final? This is
On the operating fund.
on the operating fund, on page 1, the operating fund.
I think you're on page 2, Dave.
I lost my
There
page.
it is.
Okay, the operating fund. We began with $209,290.08. That was what the city gave to us. And you can see the next two columns, what we spent through the year. The year-to-date is the second to the last column. Year-to-date, we spent $213,499.36, and which left a balance of, that's not right.
Well, it is. So the 209,000 was the original appropriation. We had $5,762.50 of amendments,
I'm sorry, I forgot
which
that.
were just some reclasses and that $3,500. So that puts us at the 1,504.21 as the final balance.
Yeah, and that's what went back to the city, right?
That's what went back to the city, yeah,
Right.
unspent.
So we finished in very good shape, so now with the beginning balance, the addition that the city gave us, the year-to-date expenses, and then that's what's left. Are there any questions on the general fund at all? These are final figures. If not, we'll look at the gift fund, and of course that pretty much stays okay. We had income of $3,050 during the year. The beginning balance was $79,215.93. With the addition of the $3,050, we had a total of ending of $95,081.13.
And just to clarify, our year-to-date revenue was $15,865. Our June revenue was $3,050. And that brought us to the $95,081.
And we have spent $1,500. That is for sound equipment, technological, what's the word? Equipment that's going to be installed in the building, and it's going to be used for, all through the building. So we have paid for that. So we are ending our gift account with a balance of $93,581.13. So that's very good. And as you know, nothing can be paid out of that without the board's approval. But we do have $25,000 contracted for painting. So that
Committed, yeah.
committed, I should say, not contracted yet, but committed with the city. Anyway, that's the gift fund. Any questions on the gift fund? If not, the next page is the revolving fund. And that takes up 2 pages. Do I have a beginning statement? The revolving fund, year to date, $44,830.95. The printer was a little off, and the top's got a little bit. So the beginning balance was $44,830.95. The income was $41,523.06, giving us a balance to work with of $86,354.01. And year to date, which is that column just before the end, we have spent $54,430.14. And we now have an available balance in revolving of $31,923.87. Now, the the city council has approved our revolving fund, right?
Yeah, so the city council did reauthorize that revolving fund and increase the spending limit to 60,000 from 40.
Any questions at all on the revolving fund? Yeah, it's been a busy fund, but it pays for quite a few things, and we are fortunate to have it. And income comes in, and we are, no question on that, okay? And the next fund is the next page. Oh, it's the FY '24 state grant, and that started off with $64,710.84. And out of that, we have spent $42,409.97. And we have,
That's out of that original count, so that left us a balance of $22,300.87. We also had $9,061.62 of our outreach coordinator administrative assistance salaries, leaving us a final balance, cash balance on the FY '24 of $13,239.25.
right. Okay,
It gets a little wonky because the salaries are included as an expense against the account, but it's a separate account just for the salary. So we have to take all the other expenses and calculate those and then grab the expenses from the salary account to apply into this range. That's why they're kind of separated as a line item.
so that takes care of the FY '24 state grant. Are there any questions at all on that? Everything that has been paid out is listed in the first column, so you can see where the money was paid, who it was paid to, or where it was paid. Okay? And the next week up is the FY '25 state grant. And in that, we had a beginning balance of $83,565. And year-to-date, out of that grant, we have we've only spent $1,374.19. So Mike has been very conservative. So we now have a balance in that account of $82,190.81. Enough to buy us a new stamp. So that is the FY '25. Is there any question at all? You can see there weren't too many expenditures yet out of that, but we'll get going. Yes, Paul?
Down at the bottom on the stem.
All right, sorry about that.
Yes.
On the state grant for 2024, like 13,000 in the account now, I imagine that's going to be closing out.
It is. We would normally have closed that out in this fiscal year. So it would simply have been a transfer of expenses from the revolving fund into the state grant to zero out the available cash. Right? So we just kind of like a transfer of expenses from your regular checking account to your high savings account. The reason we didn't do that is the authorization for the expansion of the maximum expenditures or revenue carryover hadn't been approved yet. So it didn't get approved until the last possible moment. So rather than us going in and trying to do something after the fact, we left the 13,000 here.
That's what I thought.
But moving forward, that 13,000 is going to be entirely expended, I would imagine, very shortly. Yeah, we'll reallocate the expenses that we've dropped already into that. Couldn't do that yet because this is the June 30th report. So any changes we make would be on the month that those changes are made.
We might, because we're going to do July and August reports shortly. So this is just the year end
Right.
now.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to might see some expenses out of those accounts coming up in the next few minutes.
Yeah.
We would normally
Thank you.
close that out.
I'm glad you reminded me of
Okay. So, fiscal year 25 state grant. Paul, anybody? No, okay. So moving on,
And page 7 is the state grant FY '26, just so that you all know, not '25. Page 7
page 7 of
is
10.
FY '26.
Okay, so good news here, for FY '26, we have received $83,565, plus an increase of $5,571. So our total for FY '26 is $89,136.
Oh, you're correct, yeah.
That's a good increase.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
If you need, Mike can explain why we're getting more money.
Nope, the state legislature just passed a $1 increase in the per capita. So we got a buck per senior.
So that was a nice little surprise.
That's why it's so important to always
Swipe in when you come
swipe
in.
in. It's always important to swipe in. We don't care, oh, I was here, but the numbers are what drives this, helps drive this up, so.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make it easy for you for the '25 technology grant. We closed that out in March, so this is just a continuation of that. We had a grant of $84,920, we spent $69,554.29, and we returned $15,365.71 to the state.
So that-
And you won't see that anymore.
So now I guess, do we need 3 separate motions, or can we take the whole thing in one motion?
I think to make it cleaner, because if there is a problem with one of the reports, then they can choose to not accept it.
Okay.
I think entertaining a motion at this point, Mr. Chair, would probably be appropriate. What do you think?
Yes, I think so. We're going to do each one individually?
Let's do each one individually. Yeah.
So the first report was June 30, 2025, year-end final finance report. Mr. Chair.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And
So
Mr.
vote.
Chair,
So voted. Okay, next one.
Mr. Chair, the next one is the July 31, 2025 financial report. That would be for the month of July.
Okay. Can I have a motion on that one?
Do we all want to present it? Do we want to give some of the, it's actually, no, we only did June 30th.
Oh,
We
I'm
still have,
Oh, that was another part of last year's. Okay.
rushing here.
I'm okay with that, if you guys want to be over.
We are now going to take up the July 31. This is where we'll see where some of the money has been spent, Paul. Yeah, excuse me for rushing so. Okay, so, July 31, 2025. Okay, first up is the general fund. You can see that we got, from the city, we received
212, that first column. Yeah.
212,385.21. And in July, of course, we had to pay out the salaries, there's some repairs and maintenance, information tech, energy and utilities, office supplies, and encumbered repairs, for a total payout of $14,798.24. And so at this moment, at July 31, we had a balance of $197,586.97. And that's the start of our year. Is there any questions at all? Everything is in order. Anybody, any questions on anything? No?
Now, things in purple that you see going forward, those are amounts that have already been contracted. A purchase order exists, and therefore that money is taken. So if we back off the 19,000, that would put us at like 179,000 in actual available cash. We don't really have to consider that for the operating account because you're going to see that flush out. But some of the other accounts, those contract amounts are going to be important to take note of.
All right, then, down to the gift fund. We started the year with $93,581.13. And we did get some income in July, a gift, $518.97. So our balance going forward is $94,110. Always remember that $25,000 is encumbered for painting. So that's, you know. Okay, any questions on the gift fund? All right then. Off we go to the revolving fund. And we did pay out some things in July, and you can see them, the heading is July 25, and you can see them, and that's also the year-to-date. At the moment, those two columns are exactly the same, $6,424.06. And our balance,
We're gonna give you two balances.
we're going to give you two balances. The available balance is $24,812.51. And then, after the encumbrances, our balance is $69,036.51. But remember those encumbrances, which are in the green over here, and you're under, right?
Going to purple.
Oh, the purple one, is this the purple one? Oh.
So just to clarify, the 31,923 was our beginning balance. We had some income of $43,000, by the way, $43,000 in the month of July. It's more than we made the entire FY '25. But the balance is $75,460. Our cash balance after the $6,424.06 expenses, I knew that was going to go, I could feel it.
This is perfect.
Leaves us a cash balance of $69,036.51. If you count up the amounts in purple, because I saw Paul was scratching his head saying I can't follow, there's $3,000 in contracts, and if you can't follow, then everyone else can't either. We have purchase orders for food of $3,000, purchase orders for events for $7,000, purchase orders for trips for $34,000. If we subtract that $44,000 from the available cash balance of $69,036, it gives us the $24,812.51. It's important for you to know those two numbers. One is what's sitting in the account, so if you ever go back and say, well, why did he tell us it was only $24,000 in the account? You're going to see both of those numbers tie out because the city auditing department also tracks our purchase orders. So they're going to show the cash balance, they're going to show the encumbrances, and they're going to show the available balance. And I figured that was a better way to do it. I also want to take a moment and just give an explanation of why maybe Terry seems a little harried on this. We changed the format. Terry came in June and said, Mike, this is great, but going forward, can we change some stuff? So we've changed the columns and how they're presented. So now we do a monthly expense and a year-to-date expense, and then the final tallies, which is a little different than what we used to do. So I just want to make sure everybody knew and understood that.
I forgot. I like, go across the board, the balance spent in year-to-date, and then the new balance. So so we talked about it, and finally we both agreed.
Hey, makes sense.
Yeah. So anyway, but that takes care of the
Revolving fund.
revolving fund. Any questions? You can see what the few things that were paid out in July. You can see supplies and Google and different things. But anyway, that one seems okay. All right, now we're on to...
Going to interrupt my treasurer again. Please note, in your report, that beginning balance says 13,329.25. I really honestly believe I have both calendar and numeric dyslexia. That number should be 13,239.25. It is correct in all the other reports except the July report. So that's 13,239. It changes the balances by $90, but we're going to give you the correct balances in just a minute.
So, not too much went out of that account, $250 for supplies, so that would, let's see if I got it right here, that would give a balance before salary of $12,989.25, okay? And then after the salary for the outreach coordinator is $2,209. $698.82. Any questions on that? Well, that one's easy because so far only $250 spent out of there.
And the outreach coordinator,
Yeah, oh, and the outreach coordinator is Sept. Okay? Any questions? Okay. If not, moving along here, we are now up to the state grant for the pages. That would be 2026, right?
2025. Beginning balance of 82,190.
Oh, yeah, 82, so that's
Yeah.
FY 25. 82,190 and 81 cents. And we have spent some money for the elevator, $262.71. And we have spent some money for instructors, for V-Sheet, $150, and for Regal, $100. So that was all that so far has come out of that grant. Yeah, so a total of $632.59 has been spent out of that grant. So we're going slowly, but it'll be going. So the ending balance on that account is now $35,958.93.
Can anybody tell me why, if you take 82,190 and subtract 632.59, you only end up with 35,000? And the answer is the rest of that are the encumbrances and purchase orders. So that's our available funds is 35,000. The rest has been committed. We are obligated to pay that.
We just stop for 1 minute, just
Yeah.
take a pause on
Yeah,
this.
take it away.
All these unencumbered purchase orders, they're all blank right now, so there's no,
No, that's not true. No. If you look at facilities Otis, let's look at the elevator starting right there.
wait, I'm sorry.
We're on state grant 2025.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, facilities Otis 26271.
Right,
The remaining on that, so if there's a purple line under it, that means it was a contract or purchase order for that. The remaining balance on that purchase order is $3,337.29, which tells me, if I do the addition, that the original purchase order was $3,600.
okay.
So that's the balance on that purchase order, is the 337.
Am I reading this incorrectly? Because when you say the purple line, now the next thing says purchase, the next purple line down says contracts purchase order is $3,000.
For facilities, equipment, and
Okay,
materials.
so it's everything that's above it.
Correct.
Okay, I was reading it just the other way.
And Instructor Freustine, that's the contract for Chantel. The 27 is the contract for
Yeah.
Debbie. The 5,200 is the contract for Mary Lee. Yep.
Okay,
So those, and as you see the expenses for those line items show up in the expense column, you're going to see the contract purchase order amount reduced.
okay. That explains, I was reading it incorrectly.
No problem.
Thank you.
Welcome.
But the other thing is, so like the facilities, we have $3,000 allocated for that, right? And that's based on previous year's expenses? and-
No, there's a purchase order. There's a contract for somebody under equipment and materials for $3,000. There's a contract.
Right.
It's not, we're not predicating this on past experiences. It means, Paul, I've hired you, let's do something easy. Let's do Instructor Freustine, all right? So Instructor Freustine,
Yeah.
we know that generally her expense is $200 a month. So we know it's $2,400, so I had to send a purchase order in because it's over $1,000. If my anticipated expense on any line item exceeds $1,000, I have to do a purchase order. So I did a purchase order and we encumbered that money. The reason we do that, by the way, is so that we don't hire somebody for $200 a month and then spend all the money later.
All right,
My maximum amount of money available to spend now, outside of these contracts, is $35,958. I can't spend anything more than that until or unless I either eliminate or reduce these purchase orders. So that money is as if it's spent, it's obligated.
it's gone.
Yep, there is a contract,
Okay,
yeah,
I get it.
or a purchase order.
But when you say Freustine, $200 a month, that's, you're right. that's
2,400. Yep.
So that means like LeBlanc and food events, that doesn't fall under that? purple line?
So the reason, no, it doesn't, because, well, it might. You might see that change in March, I'm being funny. Because in March, maybe we do a special event
Right.
that exceeds $1,000, then I have to do a contract to purchase order. But if the expense, the per event expense is less than that, so like kind of the normal, if I go to Hannaford today and I spend $60 and I do that every week for 52 weeks, I don't have to grab that in a purchase order unless it's a standing $60. So if I spend 60 or 30 or 20, it changes it. But anything that I know I have a firm commitment on, I have to grab and encumber it. That's how, yeah, anything I know it's gonna be $1,000 or more.
I sort of suspected that, I'm glad you clarified it.
Yep,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. Yeah, no, it's confusing. And it's the first time we put the detail in for the contracts and purchase orders, because we used to just say, here's the lump sum, and people would say, well, what the heck makes up $40,000 in purchase orders? And we had to go back and do it. Now you see it. And I'll add in for the September finance report, I'll put in the line item where it says like under Otis, contract purchase orders for Otis, contract purchase orders for facilities, so that you see that what line item it ties to. That makes sense.
Okay,
Any other questions on July? Before we move on to August.
And in July, there were no outreach coordinator expenses attached to FY '25, so our final cash balance, or available balance, not cash balance, is $35,958.93.
Okay, so August, the month that we just finished up with,
Are we making a motion to vote on July?
no,
Yeah, let's do that. We're gonna take them all separately. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So the next page is August.
So much.
So we're asking for,
July 31,
an approval on July
2025.
Okay. Got to have a motion on the July budget?
July 31.
Make a motion, we accept it.
I second.
Okay. Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Thank you for July.
and this is the only time of the year, by the way, we go through 3 financial reports at once. So, once it's done, it goes easy from here.
Okay, now we are up to date, we just finished the month of August, so here at the August 31, here are our figures up through August 31. Has everybody found their spot there? And again, we start off on page 1 with the general fund. Everything on there is pretty much the same. There are some contracts in there, contract purchase order for $10,533. What was that for?
That's our meal site manager for our company meals.
Okay. And the total, excuse me, and then there is another contract purchase order for $9,182. And that would be for maintenance.
Yeah, something, so it's either Otis, or it's the generator, or it's electrical work.
So, anyway, so that brings us to an ending balance of $182,856.81. And year-to-date, we have spent $29,528.40. And so we are in good shape going forward. We are already into the second month of spending our money. Any questions on the general fund? Pretty much in order. If not, go to the gift fund, which is, we did receive $357.70, another gift. We started the month with a balance of $93,581.13, adding that. Year-to-date, we've had $876.67, and so we now have a balance in that gift fund of $94,457.80. And any questions on the gift fund? Paul? What did we do?
Previous month's July
July.
ending balance should be carried over to August. Instead of 93,581.
So that if you add that,
94 and 100.
no, so the 93,581, right, is the beginning balance on July 1st.
Right.
In July, we had $518.97, bringing us to 94.1.
Right.
This month, we had $357. The $357.70 plus the $518.97
Oh, so you're.
equals the $876, it's year to date, so it's July and August. At $876.87 plus the $93,581.13 gives us a total of $94,457.80. That is correct.
All right.
Yep.
I was looking at the wrong column, sorry.
No problem.
That's okay.
So our ending balance,
That's
just
the ending balance, $94,457.80. And Mike is good about keeping track of monies that come in that should go in that gift fund. So it's been building up, and as we always want to repeat, $25,000 is earmarked for painting. But other than that, everything else is good. Mike is getting a new car. I know. Okay, so no further questions on the gift fund for August. Okay, here we go to the revolving fund for August. Ooh, wow. It's okay. We started off with a beginning balance of $31,923.85. We should have gotten some income, because.
we did. So year to date is
Oh, yes, we
43.
got year to date, oh, yes, oh, my goodness, big amount. We robbed the bank, $43,536.72, year to date, giving a balance at the beginning of $75,460.57. Okay, so during August, we did have some expenses, supplies, a little reclassification, supplies, and a lot of supplies. And there is a contract out for purchase order, cellular for Chromebooks, $19,000. That's in the purple line right there. So out of our funds comes the $19,000. And then Google Leo, $336.45, reclass, and contracts and purchase orders, events and catering, 3,000. Oh, wow. The revolving fund this time goes to 2 pages. Well, the total expenses for the revolving fund were,
For this month, we're 18.
$18,747.31, and year-to-date, $21,384.32. And we now have a balance in the revolving fund of $11,066.57.
Now you're shaking your head saying why, so let's go
Yeah.
through the math again.
Yeah.
That's our available cash balance, our available balance, not our available cash balance. That's our available balance after contracts. Remember, contracts haven't been paid, and our contracts and purchase orders equals $43,009.68. All of those numbers in purple, if you count those up and add those up, that's gonna total $43,009.68. Plus the $11,066.57 that's not spoken for, our cash balance, actual money in the bank, is $54,076.25. But our available balance to spend on other things is only $11,000, because the other $43,000 is spoken for. Any questions from me?
on that?
Okay.
Any questions? And then what money was spent for or anything? Well, that is that, okay?
Paul, are you following that? Okay. It looks like you had a question.
I do.
Good, good. That's good.
I can't help it.
No,
I
ask
was a
away, ask
I was a
away.
business reporter for years.
Ask it.
I know where I went astray in that last comment, and
You
it
go
was,
straight, and go straight right on.
no, on the gift fund for the previous, for July. You have the columns, like you have FYI, da-da-da-da, then you have July 25th, 25, and then you have year-to-date, and you have balance. Well, on the gift fund for the previous month of July,
We're going back to the gift fund.
yeah, just go back for a second.
Yep.
All right. If you can look at it, and look at the headings for the gift fund, that's where I got a little confused about amounts, because really this, if you look at the gift fund, it says July 25th, 2025, and there's nothing underneath it, but it should be in the next column, because that 518 is,
Well, I don't know that I agree, but let's look at it. Everyone, let's go to July 31st, 2025, gift fund. There are 5 columns. The first column are the category columns. So it says gift fund with the account number, beginning balance, income expenses balance. The second column, where it says FY 2026, is our beginning balance as of FY 2026, which would be July 1st. So July 1st, we have 93,581.13, which ties into the year-end balance of the the June 30th report. If you flip back to June 30th, you'll see that. In July, we received $518.97.
that's where.
But remember, we flipped the date, we flipped the columns.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's what I'm
so,
saying.
yes.
And that's where I got confused.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, ooh, apologize. Yep,
So it should be July.
so we switched it for the August report.
Okay, good. That's why when you carried it over.
Yep,
All
no
right.
problem.
Oh, good, I need to go to the eye doctor.
And I think we're in the August state grant FY 24, Karen?
Yeah, and here we are. FY 24 state grant in the August set of financials. And, yes, FY 24 state grant. That one is almost closed out now. You can see we spent a little bit of money in August, a few last, for a total of $772.04 in August coming out, and year-to-date, $4,036.33, and we still have a balance in that FY 24 grant of $5,703.83. That's the final cash balance for 2024.
Let me just run the numbers. We started in August at $13,239.25. We had monthly expenses of $72.04. We had year-to-date expenses of $34.99.09, leaving us a balance before salaries of $9,740.16. We had salary expenses, year-to-date, $4,036.33, which leaves us a balance after salary, cash balance, of $5,703.83. I like to go through those numbers so people who are doing the math can follow the math. It's easier for me to do it that way.
Okay, so, I think now we've covered all of August 31, I do believe.
I think we still have the FY 25 and 26 state grants. FY 26, we're not even going to go over, there have been no expenses, there's no revenue, so the balance is exactly the same. We just do the FY 20, want me to run through that?
Sure.
Okay, FY 25 state grant for in fiscal year 26 started with $82,190.81. We had expenses of $4,195.18 plus encumbrances, which leaves us a balance before salaries of unencumbered available balance of $35,474.05. There have been no salary expenses taken out in the month of August from the FY 25 state grant. That leaves us $35,474.05.
Any questions on that? Paul, anybody? Nope. Okay,
Perfect sense.
and then,
That's it.
Yeah.
that's, what about, and as far as the other,
FY '26. I figured there's been no activity, so no expenses, no income.
Right.
And
So
the
we just-
balance that we have to spend is $89,136 even on that. And, so, and that's our coming money, and we will be careful spending it, but I'm sure that we will use it to good advantage. And then, I don't know, I think we've closed out the technology grant, but I don't know if Mike has any last minute words on that. No, that's gone, so
Gone.
all gone. So,
Yep.
okay, so now I can turn that August 31, 2025 financial report over to the chair.
Okay, can we have a motion on that budget we just heard?
Make a motion that we set the August 31st, 2025 budget.
I'll second. Yeah, okay, Bob.
I second.
Okay, any discussions?
Any further question?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And remember what I said in the beginning, this, all our financial figures always go to the city auditor, and at the end of the fiscal year, those figures go to the auditing committee that comes in and does it, out and does the audit for the city. So, even though you're voting yes on what we're telling you and you're agreeing with us, there's still a power above us.
Okay, so voted? Okay, we're all set. Okay, thank you very much, Terry, for the
Well, thank you,
the
Mike.
three-section report.
Okay, and thank you,
one-
Mike, for your help.
I have a quick question. The spreadsheet here,
Yes.
is this us doing the spreadsheet, or is this coming from City Hall?
We're doing the spreadsheet, but all the numbers come from City Hall. So what we do is, there's a accounting system online called Munis. We log into Munis, we look at our account, 15,541, and I can see what our starting balance was, I can see what our ending balance is, and I can see a line item for expenses. It also gives me the opportunity to expand the detail, so I can pull all of the expenses out of any particular account or sub-account. So what they give us is a very, huge 30,000 mile overview. These are the numbers. I break the numbers down for you so that you can see when we say we have $14,000 worth of expenses, what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, we're spending it, we can look at our spending category, we can now track and trend, if we wanted to, how much money we're spending at Amazon for just general event supplies, or how much money we've been spending in food. We never had that detail before, we never needed it or wanted it. This board has asked for that, and that's why we do the spreadsheet. So all of our numbers have to tie out exactly to Munis. So I guarantee if we went in and we looked at the September 1st, we can't look at today, because today's going to be different than, say, August 31st. We can look at that detail, pull out any activity that occurred between August 31st and September 8th, and they'll tie out exactly. It takes a lot of time to do that, and some folks suggest that, maybe we're putting too much time and effort into this, but I think as a board, you really ought to know the detail, the devil's in the detail, and where we're spending money, what are our biggest cost centers. So moving forward, we know our biggest cost centers by far are our contract vendors, in all of our accounts except the operating account. Operating account, similarly, it's salaries and wages. So we know that, we can see that now, but we never could see that before until we started pulling it out.
Well, how long does this take you? Because it's like you're reconciling.
We are reconciling, well, we're not really reconciling, we're just breaking it down. I don't have to reconcile because the numbers are the numbers.
Right, it's like balancing a checkbook, but you're doing it
Yep.
for different things.
Yep.
And I'm thinking,
There's a lot of time.
I was gonna say, that takes a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time, and God forbid we be $100 off.
Yeah.
My largest office expense now is calculator tape.
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
it takes a little bit of time. I wouldn't say it takes weeks or a couple days. I do the work and then Terry comes in, we do the work together, we make any adjustments in terms of how it's reported, check for the accuracy, and It's not perfunctory, the job of the treasurer is not perfunctory. She's caught some addition errors, when we did formulas, some formula errors. So having that second set of eyes is really important.
Yeah, I better just, thank you, Terry, I appreciate what you did.
Oh,
Me too.
I couldn't do it without Mike's help.
You did a good job.
No, but I try to follow as best I can.
Very good.
And I should say too, in Mike's behalf, way back when I first started doing the treasurer's report, we couldn't give it as of the first of the month or the end of the month because the city auditor wouldn't have the figures ready. So you didn't always get your report from him till maybe the 5th or the 6th. But with Mike now, we can have figures as of the first of the month. He does it month by month.
I think that's important to know that the way that the city does that, it's a cumulative, balance. So on September 3rd, they can only give you the balance as of September 3rd, unless they went and did the things we do, which is to extrapolate any transactions that might have happened between the end of the month and the date of the report. Sometimes, when we're running reports 2 weeks into the month, that gets hairy, but if we can do it as close to the end of the month as possible, it's really not hard.
And he does, So that's why, on a month-to-month basis, we know where we're at, we're in pretty good shape. And he's trying to buy a car.
Yeah, I see. No car.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay,
oh, that's
okay, we have old business, any updates on new business? Okay, we're gonna do, old business, any updates on new business from prior meeting?
I don't think there are any updates, Mr. Chair.
Okay, very good. Then we're gonna do new business, director's report.
Oh my God, sit back. We're actually in good shape, but the September meeting is always difficult with the financial reports for 3 months. And I like to give you 3 months rather than have it all cumulative so you can see month to month what our real expenses are. The easiest and best way to do the director's report is to go to the update that I provided to the mayor. All department heads, I think you remember from our board orientation, are required to give semi-annual reports to the mayor, updates on what's been happening in the last 6 months. We're also required to do an annual submission for the city's annual report. So we have to do a kind of full year cumulative report. So here's some, I tend to not say, oh, we keep doing this. If it's something that's a continuation, I don't really talk about. So I think one of the very interesting things for you to understand is that the 6 pages of updates is all new stuff that we've been doing. So really working hard on case management. We expanded our veterans programs, including a whole bunch more trips and day trips. So the idea here isn't just to go out and see and do things. It's about bringing people together for connection and for purpose. So a lot of folks that may have been isolated and lonely in the past, we're trying to find new ways to eliminate that environment or climate for them. We started a memory cafe for folks, which is pretty cool. In fact, next week on September 15th, we have over 50 people signed up to come to a dinner to talk about memory loss and resources and really drive the idea of a support group and why it can help them in their overall mental health and those of the folks that they work with. We have new programs, including our Travel Time Tea consults twice a month, Diane Pellet, Crafters Club, Beating Club, just a whole bunch of stuff. Our utilization has increased. We talked about this at the board meeting, but I'm going to reiterate it. In FY24, we closed out that year. We showed over 4,000 unique individuals served by the Gardner Senior Center. Our weekly average participation in 2024, and there were some unique things that happened in 2024. So I want to make sure that you understand. I'm going to qualify that in a minute. Our average weekly participation exceeded 600. We increased our evening hours, our afternoon hours were extended in terms of program and weekend stuff, and really continue to see expansion of those special programs in terms of utilization, participation, and community support. Our transportation program, our digital classroom, all have been expanded. Our advocacy and counseling programs is really one of the value-weight services we provide from financial consulting, we do Medicare, Medicaid, health insurance consulting, we do housing consulting, we do nutrition, SNAP, HIP benefit enrollment. So a lot of that stuff, and we have seen record numbers of people participate in those. An interesting thing I want you to understand, in this report that I sent to the mayor is actually not correct. In the advocacy and counseling programs, at the very bottom, you see we enrolled over 372 seniors in senior buy-in. That's from one program. Our other program had about 52 people that they enrolled. So that puts us at about 430 people that we've enrolled in senior buy-in. Now, why is that important? We talk about impact and why things like the senior center are important. And there are folks in our community that don't really understand they see there's a community center or rec center. But one of the services we provide is helping people understand their options for Medicare. Senior buy-in, let's go back to a minute. Medicare has two primary parts, Part A and Part B. Seniors can also opt into a C, D, F, all those other alphabet soup ones. But A and B are the two primary required by law. You can't get out of those when you're in Medicare. Part A covers hospitalizations, inpatient kind of services, up to 80% of those services, and it's free. So the other 20%, though, of the cost is borne by the senior. So you can imagine what a hospitalization might look like and what that associated bill looks like if people didn't have insurance, which is why they take advantage programs and supplement programs to cover that 20%. Part B is for all of those doctor visits and examinations, x-rays, MRIs, things like that. Part B insurance costs seniors $187 a month, and that's deducted automatically from their Social Security check. Every senior, $187. That amount goes up, by the way, as the amount of income by that senior goes up. But generally, most seniors on Medicaid, if they don't have any other outstanding income sources, are going to pay $187. Plus 20%. That's their copay. You can imagine what that looks like. I don't know what that looks like. If I see a doctor a lot, my copays are going to be higher. If I have a lot of prescriptions, well, prescriptions aren't covered. If I have a lot of CAT scans and other services, my 20% is going to be pretty high. But you can imagine in your head what that might look like for a normal individual who might have one hospital inpatient stay, one urgent care, or see 2 or 3 doctors a month. It's pretty substantial. When we enroll seniors in senior buy-in, so the number here is 372 plus 52, close to 430, we eliminate their Part D coverage cost entirely. That cost is borne by senior buy-in now, not by the individual. So that $187 no longer comes out of their Social Security. They get that money in their pocket. They pay $0 for a premium. The cost savings, based on 372 seniors that we enrolled, the cost savings in their pocket just from the Part D premium savings is $825,000. At the 430 mark, it puts us at about $925,000. Real money in seniors' pockets because of services they got here at the Gardner Senior Center. I think that's pretty remarkable, and I'd love to tell that story. Yeah, maybe I'm being braggadocious, but that's what we're here for. We're here to make life better for seniors and make it more affordable and make them more comfortable in their retirement years, and this is one great way we do it. $900,000+ just in the Part B premium. How much more savings did they incur because they didn't have to pay the 20% on their Part A? What did that savings look like when they didn't have to pay the 20% on their Part B? I don't know the answer to that, but I suspect it's more than $10, $100. I can reasonably assume that by enrolling 430 seniors in senior buy-in, we've saved them over $1 million. I don't think that's unreasonable. We're at $920,000 just in premium assistance. That's kind of cool. And that wouldn't be possible, by the way, without our volunteers and our partners. Absolutely 100% true. They do incredible work, and they do incredible work by answering our calls in the middle of the night or going to homes of seniors to do this counseling and buy-in for our seniors. So we are so blessed.